Welcome, teachers. We're so glad you found our class on Apple Classroom. Apple Classroom is an amazing Apple product that pairs your teacher iPad with your student iPads in the classroom and gives you lots of control in guiding them as to what they're doing on the iPad. We think this is an amazing product and we can't wait to share it with you. So to start, my name is Christy Harrell from Educational Technology.
Hi, everybody. We're so glad you're here. I love this program. You're going to love it too. And I'm Sarah Smith from Educational Technology as well.
All right, let's get started with the basics. Before we do, I want you to know that the slides presentation that you're going to see for part of the time today, we have bit.ly that. So the shortened link is bit.ly/Apple Classroom KISD. Just remember with a bit.ly link, the letters are case sensitive. So be sure the capitals that you see are capitalized when you're trying to get to the slides. All right, let's talk about the basics of this program. There is a lot that has to be put into place for this to work between your teacher iPad and your student iPads. The one thing that you need to remember is that you as the teacher are the only one that needs the Apple Classroom app. It runs off your teacher device and then pairs with your student devices based on the settings that we've put in place in the back end. However, for all that to work, there are some things that have to be put into place. First, we need to check that your students are logged into iCloud on the iPad. That happens in settings, and we're going to go to settings in just a second and show you all this. Bluetooth has to be turned on every iPad, the teacher iPad as well as the students. That's what allows the iPads to talk to each other. You and your students have to be on the same Wi-Fi for this to work. And then you both have to have the same updated iOS. Note, only the teacher, like I said before, needs the Apple Classroom app. So let's go to settings, Sarah, and let's see where some of these features are. So Sarah's now in her settings, and in our scenario for class today, she's actually going to be the teacher and I'm going to be the student. So I can see in the top middle that Sarah Smith is logged into this iPad with sarah.smith@kellerisd.net. So each of your students has to be logged into the iPad with their Keller ISD email address for this to work. And then I can see over on the left in the settings that her Wi-Fi is on Keller ISD. So this won't work if half your class is on onboard Wi-Fi and half your class is on Keller ISD Wi-Fi. Whatever you have as the teacher will need to match the students. In addition, below Wi-Fi on the left, I can see that Sarah has Bluetooth turned on. Just a reminder, you as the teacher need Bluetooth turned on, as well as your students all having Bluetooth turned on. And last, we've both got to be, or the students and teacher have to be on the same update for iOS. Sarah's going to take us to General in her settings menu, and she's going to click on Software Update, which is the second choice. And I'm going to see that her iPad is on the update 14.8. And so all of my students or all of her students would need to be on that same update for this to all work. Now, I will mention that last week, iOS pushed a new update. It's 15. So if your iPads are on different updates, all you'll need to do is plug in all your student iPads one night and the new update should automatically push if they're plugged in all night long. If you find that you have a problem, you can push the update yourself during the school day, but know that everything must be on that same update for this to work. Now, we want to put a little caveat in here. This is a lot of work getting all of this set up to work just right. It is so magical once you have everything set up. You just open the app and your students are all there. It's great. But this is a lot of work. So if you feel like this is something you need help with, reach out to Sarah or I through email, and we are happy to come to your classroom, maybe during CoCur, maybe during a time we could be less intrusive. We will get all of your iPads set up, paired with your teacher one to make sure that this works for you. That's how much we believe that this is an amazing program that can change your teaching in the classroom. So with that said, let's move on, Sarah, to the features that we can do with a whole class using Apple Classroom. So what you're viewing right now is Sarah's iPad, and she's going to open the app, Apple Classroom. It's a little orange app in the bottom, or actually on her iPad today. I see it in her dock at the bottom. And it's a student raising their hand as the icon. So once she opens to her classes, any class that you've got rostered in Aries, you're going to see as a card on this screen. So because Sarah and I don't teach and we don't have Aries classes, we've made a class for our Apple Classroom and we've called it EdTech or Educational Technology. You're actually going to see any Aries class you have rostered. So that could be a homeroom class, math class, ELA or language arts class, science, whatever you teach and is rostered in Aries is what you are going to see in your classes page when you open up Classroom. I'm going to have Sarah go ahead and launch the EdTech class by clicking on it. And what view I've opened up to you, this view is actually called Screen View. And so all of those little squares are the students in my class, and I can see at the moment that they're all offline. Just magically, I'm going to be a student in one of those classes. I'm going to be in this class. I'm going to be Devin today, and I am going to open or wake up his iPad.
You're
And
doing great, Teacher Christy.
Thanks. What you should see in just a second is that we'll see Devin's iPad and what it's opening to. While it's connecting, let's look at, there we go. So now I can see that Devin's iPad is on home screen. And Sarah, if you'll actually take your hands and pinch to make the screen bigger, these little squares are kind of tiny and it might be a little hard for you to see what is Devin really on. I'm going to zoom in and see bigger. And as Sarah zoomed with her fingers using the outward, not the inward pinch, but the outward pinch, 2 fingers, she made Devin's screen bigger so I can see exactly what Devin's clicking on with that iPad. So that's kind of a neat feature.
That's awesome.
One other thing I want to point out, across the top, I see 4 little squares towards the right. And Sarah, I'm going to ask you to click on those 4 squares. This is going to switch the view of my class, and I call this student view. I see all my students. I see their little, their profile icon circle almost, and I can see that Devin is on his home screen, but I don't physically see his screen in this view. So it's student view here, and Sarah, if you'll click on the 4 circles this time, screen view here. So you'll find that you prefer one of those views, and that's absolutely okay. Today, we're going to stick in screen view so that you can view what Devin's doing as we walk through this class. Okay, so let's talk about launching an app to our entire class. Up in the top, kind of towards the middle, Sarah's got a little icon that looks like a stack of squares. And it's called the launcher or the apps launcher for Classroom. So if I, as a teacher, want to launch an app to the entire class, maybe I want everyone to go to ClassLink, I'm going to click on that little apps launcher button. And then I'm going to click on the app I want to send them to. So today I'm going to have Sarah send the class to ClassLink. And once she does, she can actually open ClassLink on her teacher iPad, or she can click done. Know that she sent all of her students somewhere. So since Devin is the only active iPad in this class, I can see that Devin's on KCloud. And if I've given him further instructions, maybe I'm ready for him to start typing in his ID number and his password. And I can be seeing that in real time, what all of my students are doing.
I think teachers are going to love this, Christy. To see it real time like this is pretty amazing. And it makes sense. It makes sense why they'd all need to be on the same Wi-Fi. I'm not really a network specialist, but you know, that they're all talking to this through the same network. But we're definitely, like you said earlier, very much worth the work of setting it up to see all these little thumbnails and what they're doing and just kind of making sure they're on task.
Absolutely. And just remember, if you can't find time for that work setting up, we will come to you. We will come and get this set up for you because we believe in this product. Okay, Teacher Sarah, right next to the little icon that launched apps, this is called the Navigate icon. This icon will help me navigate students to content that I want to navigate them to. So Sarah's clicked on the Navigate button, and she's got the choice to navigate me to an Apple book, to Nearpod, or to Safari. She's going to click on Safari today. And this is actually going to guide her to her Safari favorites. So we'll click on favorites, and she's going to choose one of her favorites and send the class to a website.
I'm sorry, Christy, I really don't have very much there, but we'll pretend like
perfect.
this is the most amazing website you've ever seen. It's
It
called
is.
Google.
It's
I'm going to
the
click
most
done.
amazing website. So again, Sarah has the choice to go to Google on her website. She's already sent her students to Google. I can tell because I'm looking at Devin's screen view and I know he's on Google. And so because Devin's logged into Google on this iPad before, I can see in the top right, he's got his blue profile circle, and I know that that's a Devin logged into the iPad. Now, we're going to show you a way in a minute where you can send students to any website. But note that today, that website actually came from the STARS favorites folder. So a little bit of a distinction there, but you did notice one of the neat things is I can send my students to an Apple book or a specific chapter or page in an Apple book. So that little icon to navigate is pretty cool.
And did you notice this, Christy? You can lock in the app after opening. That is very
I
cool.
didn't know if I noticed that before.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
They're adding features all the time, so maybe it's new.
That will keep me from sneaking away to what I want to do.
Yes.
All right, now we're going to move over to the right-hand side of SARS teacher controls, and we're going to look at the circle with the 3 dots because there's lots of greatness in this little 3-dot menu as well. I'm going to say really quickly that you won't be able to add and remove students. And the reason why is because we're pulling your Aries roster. So you won't have control with those 2 features. Now we're going to go to the kind of the bottom of this list, and we're going to talk about locking, hiding, and muting. Because all of a sudden, all of my class is on a GoNoodle video and it is playing so loud, and or maybe they're all doing something different and I'm ready to lock them down. I need to rein them in, which never happens.
No, never. No.
So Sarah, go ahead and lock us all. She's going to click the lock feature.
I have 9 students.
All 9 of her students are now locked. And what happened to Devin's iPad is I see this big lock icon on my screen and it says my teacher locked it. And so I know I probably should be taking my eyes and looking up at my teacher or looking up at the board, but I'm needing to be paying attention somewhere else. So I can't do anything on my iPad. I can click the home button, I can tap my screen, but nothing happens.
Nothing's happening. Oh, I love that. So you want me to unlock you and free you
I'm
up?
ready.
Okay.
Unlock me.
Unlock you. And just so y'all know that these features along the top that Christy's covering are full class features. So assuming I had all 9 online, it would work. But for today's purposes, just Devin is online. So that's why it says 1 there. Awesome. Are you unlocked? It's coming.
Unlocked.
Okay.
Yes.
Here it comes.
I'm
We
ready
see it
to
on
go
Apple
again.
Classroom. I love it. There you are in Google.
All right, click my 3 dots one more time. Let's talk about hiding. So if Sarah decides to hide the whole class, what essentially she's doing is kind of closing all the apps that are open. She's saying, hey, clear their screen. And you can see with Devin, I was on the Google screen. It kind of closed that Google app, or that Safari app was actually what I was in. And it took me back to the home screen. So it's almost, instead of locking everyone, it's a little bit of a way of refocusing everyone.
Yeah, it's kind of like on a desktop computer, you might say, everybody go to your desktop. On an iPad, it's your home screen. So that it gets them back to that home screen. I like that refocus.
Yeah, it'd probably be a great tool for an elementary teacher. I can imagine it would.
Yeah.
And then back to my example where everybody's got GoNoodle at the top of the volume list. and no one's using their headphones appropriately, I can mute the entire class. So if Devin was playing a video or I just needed to mute everyone's iPad, I could choose to do that with my teacher controls.
Nice.
Okay, last thing on your three-dot menu. When you started not Google Classroom, when you started Apple Classroom, you've opened a session. So it's almost like you've opened a session to begin interacting with your students. You actually do have to end that session. There's really no other way to get back to your classes view other than ending it or swiping up to close your app. So Sarah, go ahead and end this class for me. And I'm going to get a little analytics.
Devin, you were on the news. You were on the news app, Devin.
Oh, sneaky kid, open News ELA while you were talking, Sarah. I can see that Devin was actually my only student that joined that session today, and I can see everything he clicked on. So this could be a pretty big screen in an elementary room, especially if the students had some free reign during the open session time. But it is one way that you can go back to a student and say, hey, during class today, I noticed that you had the News ELA app open and we were supposed to be focusing on whatever. So it's a great little bit of analytics for you should you need it. Mostly probably you'll click done in the top right corner and end that session completely. And that will take you back to your list of classes or your class cards for Apple Classroom.
I love that you showed that, Christy, because that's not as intuitive as some of the other features. So I'm going to go back in and start a second session. And to reiterate, it was the three dots in the top right and end class, because sometimes I'm in a class going, now where do I go? Because you're looking for an X or an end and it's kind of hidden. So I love that you covered that. All right, is it my turn?
It's your turn. Sarah's going to tell us about some individual student features we have with Apple Classroom.
Yeah, so we said earlier, just think of these buttons along the top as things that you're going to do to the whole class. So maybe you have 20 kids in your class and you're going to lock everybody's screens or whatnot, or send everyone to an app. But what's really nice about Apple Classroom is you can also control an individual. So Chrissy, if you'll wake Devin's iPad up, I see he's offline. There he is. I'm going to pinch so you guys can see. Remember the pinching out with my two fingers. I can do that on my iPad screen. That way I'm just going to make it really big so you guys can see the thumbnail a little bit better. All right, so I can see that Devin is on his home screen. Now, what I can do to control just Devin's iPad or affect it is click on his little thumbnail, which I made bigger so you guys can see it. It's going to give me this window here that has all the same features, but even more. So let's talk about them briefly. First off, I want to talk about opening an app. So I'm going to tap open. And let's say I want him to go now into clips. I'm going to click clips. And of course, I get the same features where I could open the app on my iPad or just tap done. So I'm going to tap done. And there Devin is ready in clips. I love that. Wouldn't that be so awesome if you do have a little one that's maybe having focus problems and just needs a little guidance, a little assistance? I mean, maybe you can capture a little more instructional time that way by, popping them into the app and moving right along. I just love that. So that's
I do think this answers the age-old problem of helping littles control where they are in technology. It's a great product.
As you guys can tell, we love this app. Okay, so I'm going to tap again on Devin and get the same little menu bar here. And next up, I'm going to tap navigate. So it's the same one you saw in the top left corner of Apple Classroom, but this one will just navigate Devin specifically. I'm going to go to Safari and favorites, and this time I'll go to a different one. Of course, again, I don't have a whole lot there, but we'll show you some other options later for if you don't have a website favorited. Is that a verb? I think it is. And you want to send that student to that website. But for now, this is how you would do it if you have it favorited. So it's that navigate button. I am going to tap done. And there, isn't that amazing? He is being taken to, so remember, he was in clips. So it popped him into now Safari. He didn't have to type in http://www.apple.com or any of that. I know that websites are getting a little smaller now, but it would really save time. He's there. I can see it. I'm going to pinch in so you guys can see it really well. He's on the Apple website. So amazing. So that's the navigate button. Next, I'm going to tap again on Devin's thumbnail and show you that I can't, although I can kind of see his screen in the thumbnail, I can also blow it up with this view screen button. So I'm going to tap view screen. And there I see a full screen view of what Devin's doing. And yeah, Christy, if you'll kind of maybe go to a different website or tap a button, but we can actually see what Devin's doing in real time. Pretty amazing. Are you scrolling through the website? Is that what's going on there?
I think
Okay.
I need one of these 13s in that shield front textured matte. Oh man.
Oh, it looks amazing.
Gold. I like the gold.
Yes. Believe me, my son is asking for that. Okay. I'm going to tap done in the top right. And that's the view screen button. Very, very helpful. Just like Christy mentioned for the whole group, we can hide on Devin's screen. Remember, that's kind of like minimizing those apps or swiping them away and getting the students back to that home screen. So there's the hide feature. Again, clicking on the thumbnail, I get this same window. I can lock. Christy, did it do the same thing it did earlier? It locked you? Okay. So it's just taking that one student iPad, maybe having them refocus. Maybe you want them to just have a one-on-one conversation with you really quickly. I mean, let's face it, technology and the colorful little buttons and the fun apps, it is distracting. So this is such a great classroom management tool. I can't speak highly enough about it. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock.
Apple Classroom for the win there.
Yes, for sure. Okay, I'm unlocking you. Let's see, is it coming back? Sometimes it kind of goes to sleep or whatever, and you might just have to have them tap the home button and wake it back up. There it is. Okay, so if I tap that thumbnail one more time, I would like to talk about muting. That is a helpful feature. I know we talked about it with the whole group, but I can kind of see you guys maybe using it one-on-one a little bit more. So I'm going to mute, and it'll tell me if I muted successfully. And hopefully, Christy, on your end, Devin's been muted. We're not really hearing his crash course video, so I'm assuming he is muted. So that's awesome.
Remember what it was like in preschool?
Are you turning it back up? I kind of hear it in my headphones. Okay. Awesome. I love that. All right. Let's talk about AirPlay. I think this one is amazing. If you are watching us right now, I'm assuming you are in a classroom that has the Apple ecosystem, the iPads, perhaps the MacBook, the Apple TV. So if you are in a situation where you have access to an Apple TV connected to a big screen, and assuming it's a TV or projector, then you are going to want to check this out. Let's say somebody in your classroom has exemplar work and you want to push it up to the projector, to the TV, whatever you have in your classroom. Then you can click their thumbnail, click this AirPlay button. And I happen to be in a room with an Apple TV connected to a TV, and mine's just called Apple TV. You would need to know the name of your Apple TV, and I know in most cases it's the room number or the location. This particular one that I am set up for is prompting me for a passcode, a 4-digit passcode. So I'm going to type that in. So depending on how they're configured, I kid you not, I am seeing Devin's Clips video on my big screen right now. I know you can't see that, but it's saying in a big green screen, swipe up. So, I mean, I know it's part of Christy's Clips video, or Devin's in this case, but it is so cool. I'm looking at the TV screen right now, and if I click on the thumbnail again, I can stop AirPlaying. So Christy, I know the audience can't see this, but can you do something on your iPad?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, there it is.
I can actually play the video that I had just barely made in Clips.
Awesome.
I can tell I'm connected. You see what I'm seeing right there? Like it's telling me my TV is connected, but I still have a little bit of control with that.
Can you get out of Clips and go into a different app?
Yeah.
Yep.
How about epic?
I'm completely seeing what you're
Let's read the
doing.
Peanuts comic together.
I'm completely seeing it on my TV. It is so cool. So you could do that. That would be a great collaboration tool, sharing tool, assessment, maybe again, showing some exemplar work, maybe showing a non-example. But I'm going to click on it again and stop the AirPlay. It has now released Devin's iPad from my TV. I'm not seeing it anymore. And that is how easy it is if you are using all the Apple products like that. Password's not going to work and remove, so we're going to move on from here, but that is the main menu that you see when you click a thumbnail of a student. The next thing I want to show you is, let's say you want to share a specific document with your students. Okay, this entails a few more steps because we're going to use the split screen view. So if you don't know how to use split screen, I'll show you briefly here, but we also have on EdTech KISD a playlist for iPads, and we have a video on just using split screen. But right now, y'all see I'm in Apple Classroom. I'm going to swipe up gently from the bottom and see my doc. I am going to pull over from the Google Docs icon. I'm going to pull that over to the right side of my screen and kind of split the screen that way. So you'll see here on the left side of my screen is Apple Classroom and I've zoomed in a little bit on Devin's thumbnail. And on the right side of my screen, I'm seeing my Google Docs. And so there's all my docs. I could scroll through those, but I happen to have one that I believe is shared out to anybody that wants can view it. I am going to drag it. In fact, I have an even better one. I think this one we actually shared earlier to Devin so he can actually edit it. So let's try this one. I'm going to tap practice document. And as soon as I tap, I'm going to tap and hold and drag it over. You're going to see a little plus sign. Do y'all see the plus sign? As soon as you see that attached to the thumbnail, I'm going to let go. I'm going to get the screen that it's sharing to my students and click done. Look at this. Let's go ahead and use a previous feature, which is view the screen. And then I think I'm going to just drag my docs over just so we can see a little bit better. And look at that. I can see that Christy has Devin's iPad up. The Google Doc has been launched or opened, and she's actually typing into this document. I can see it real live, in person, real time. Looks like you're typing. Is that right, Christy?
Yes, I am. I'm putting in my answers for my
your science.
Yes, my science experiment.
That is so cool. So I'm going to click done in the top right. And just to review us, that was using another app. Maybe you're using the Files app in, I know that's an Apple app, or Google Docs or Google Slides or something. Now in Google, you would have to make sure that the access privileges are turned on, that they have access to the files. But it's a very simple drag and drop process in split screen. Similarly, let's say, Chrissy, I may have to lock you. You're really getting into that science experiment document. No, I'm just teasing. Similarly, though, we can now share a website that maybe we didn't favorite using split screen. So let me show you that as well. I'm going to pull up from the bottom to show my doc. I am going to pull Safari over to the right side of my screen and split my screen. So again, the left side of the screen is showing Apple Classroom. The right side is showing Safari. And I happen to have had the Keller ISD website up already. So there it is. Look in the address bar and you'll see the website there. It is actually clickable. So I'm going to click and hold, or tap and hold, excuse me, on an iPad and drag it over to my Apple Classroom, drop it on one of the thumbnails. So here we go. As soon as I see that plus sign, do y'all see the plus sign? It's at the top right corner of my website thumbnail. I'm going to let go. And now it's performing the share. I see that it's shared to my one active student. It tried to do all 9, but it's just one person's active. So I'm going to click done. And there is Devin's thumbnail. He's in my website, or he's on my website. in Safari, ready to work. You guys, I think this is amazing because you can just capture a lot of those instructional minutes back just by being a little more efficient with these tools. What do you think, Christy?
Oh, I think it's so amazing for the littles, which is a solution we've needed for a long time.
I
So I'm
agree.
super happy we have this and we're diving into it this year.
So that really brings us to a close on our features. So let me get rid of the split screen and just show you a little bit about where you can go for some more resources. So I am going to end this class, see my analytics, my class summary, click done, and I'm back at Apple Classroom. So that is what it looks like when you enter Apple Classroom and exit. But let's go back to our slideshow. And I know we went through all of this with you, but I do want to show you, we have amazing screenshots. We also have made little, very short, I mean, some of these are like 10-second videos that you can click and watch. Anytime you see the click to watch tutorial video, you know it's a video, not just a picture, and steps. So usually the slides will tell you the steps on how to do something, and then the video will show you. But at the end of this slideshow, let me let it load. We have a couple of resources. So I'll give it just a minute. Many of you are familiar with our YouTube channel. I hope I mentioned it earlier, but if not, this link will take you to a playlist on YouTube of all these videos. So if you just kind of want to see everything together in that view. Also, we have a Getting Started with Apple Classroom PDF that we got from Apple, and we're going to continue to add more resources as we find them here on this page. So definitely check these out. I just want to thank you guys for joining us. I'll stop sharing my screen so we can end with just a big thank you. What do you think, Christy? You think they're going to like it?
Yeah, I hope you guys love this product. Again, we're here for you. Reach out. We'd love to set this up for your class, or if you need a little bit of additional training, we're happy to come and help you or do your first class session with you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day.